Hello, this is Kai from Scrub Gang Gaming. Berries are a mechanic introduced in Generation 2 of Pokemon. It marked the start of held items that could be used by a Pokemon to affect gameplay and added an extra level of strategy and customization. Berries in Generation 2 were primitive. They grew on trees, cured status effects, and restored HP. Growing and harvesting berries relied on the real-time clock powered by a button battery inside the cartridge, all of which are coming to the end of their lifespans. If these aren't replaced, then the berry mechanic no longer works and you can only harvest once. In Generation 3, berries expanded. Each berry got a name and effect, and new berries that help with EV training or boosting stats were introduced. Berries also played a massive role in the ever so popular Pokemon contest mechanic by being converted to Pokeblocks to increase the contest stats of a Pokemon and being grinded into powder to exchange for herbal remedies. There are 55 berries coded into the game in Generation 3, however it is impossible to collect all the berries in a single playthrough of a game. There are also some very niche mechanics as well to obtain berries unique to this generation. With the expiration of batteries in real game cartridges and emulators not quite being able to simulate the real time clock, growing berries and getting them from time-based events has become quite challenging, with a need to replace the battery in order for these events to occur normally. I thought it'd be a fun challenge to try and collect all the berries in 2024 and bring you guys along for the journey. Let's start with the easiest berries to obtain in one of the first games of the generation, Pokemon Sapphire. Start the game as you normally would, but pay close attention to the last number of your trainer ID. I went for a random ID, but getting an ID ending with 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 or 8 will make your life easier. I'll explain why in a bit. Go through the start of the game as usual and collect your starter and Pokeball. We can start our collection with the Oran Berry and the Pecha Berry on Route 102. Make your way through Petalburg City and Petalburg Forest and come out the other side. Here you can harvest the Cherry Berry. In the Pretty Petal shop, the third person in the store will give you a random berry from a pool of the first 10 berries and can be an easy way to fill any gaps you might have. You can soft reset in front of her to get the berry you need. In my case, I got an Oran Berry, so I won't add it to the total. On the other side of the pond on Route 104, you can grab the Leper Berry. The lady next to the Leper Berry will give you a Chesto Berry every day if your in-game clock works. Continue through the usual storyline and make sure you defeat Roxanne and pick up the HM for Cut. On the north side of Route 116, you can harvest Chesto Berries and Pineapple Berries. Once you've played through a bit of the storyline, you'll end up on Route 110. On the northern side of the route, you'll find some Nana Berries. Next, we'll head to Route 117 on the western side of Mobile City, where you can harvest Weeper Berries. Once you've beaten Watson and obtained Rock Smash, you can move north through Route 111 and on the other side of Fury Path onto the northern side of Route 112. Here you can find a berry patch containing Pecha Berries and Rawst Berries. On the northern side of Route 111, past the Secret Base Dude, is a berry patch containing Oran Berries and Raspberries. The girl next to the berry patch also gives out raspberries daily. Make your way through Route 113 and Falabor Town to Route 114. On the southeastern side of the route, next to Lynette's house, you can find a patch of Person Berries. The man outside Lynette's house will also hand out a random berry daily from this table. As we can obtain every other berry from this table somewhere else, this is an optional way to attain these. There's a lot of storyline between now and the next berry. Once you have defeated Flannery and Norman and obtained Surf, you can head back up Route 115 north of Rossborough City and surf up. If you head up towards the southern part of the route, there's a small berry patch on the south side of Route 115 that contains blackberries. Further north in the maze area of the route, you'll find a berry patch containing kelp seed berries. Make your way east of Moorville City and surf across a small body of water. On the eastern side of the route, there's a berry patch containing citrus berries. Before you head north, continue east on Route 123. On this route, you'll find the Berry Master and his wife, as well as their berry patch outside full of berries. Here you can harvest the Pomeg Berry, Greppa Berry, and Qualot berries. Head inside the house. Once again, if your in-game clock works, the Berry Master will hand out 2 different berries each day from this table. You can soft reset for the ones you are acquiring since it's the only way to obtain these in-game. Here I picked up the remaining berries I do not have, including the tomato berry, the normal berry, the Rabuta berry, as well as the corn berry. I'll grab the Magos berry later on. The Berry Master's wife is also instrumental in obtaining some exclusive berries. By entering a specific phrase listed on this table, she will give you a specific berry that cannot be obtained elsewhere in the game. At this point in your playthrough, you can only obtain the Spleelon berry by entering the phrase Great Battle. The other berries unlock once you beat the Pokemon League and once you register Latios and Latias in your game. We will come back and finish this later on. Head back to Route 118 and proceed north to Route 119. Complete more of the storyline by defeating the Weather Institute, beating your rival and defeating Winona. Head down Route 120. On the eastern side of the route, next to the puddle-laden area, you can use Cut to access the berry patch that contains Aspear berries, which you can find later in the game, however it is convenient to pick up now. Continue heading down the route to the southwestern corner. There will be a beauty here that hands out berries daily. The berry she hands out corresponds to the last digit of your trainer ID. You can obtain the Figgy berry and the Ayapapa berry through other means, so having a trainer ID that corresponds with the other berries is helpful here to obtain the other berries. In my playthrough, I had a trainer ID ending with 9, which means I ended up getting an Ayapapa berry. Continue with the storyline and complete the events on Mount Pyre and head to Lily Cove. The gentleman in the northeast part of the city will give out a random berry once per day. The berry is randomly selected from this list and can be soft reset to get the berry you want. This is somehow the only normal way of obtaining a Lum berry in this game, so I soft reset until he gave me one. The next berry available isn't for a while since a lot of storyline happens here. Once you have caught Kyogre, you can access Kiri, the berry NPC in Pseudopolis City. Kiri will give you 2 berries each day from a fixed loot table, with the second berry always either a Figgy berry or a Ayapapa berry. I ended up getting a Magos berry and a Figgy berry here. Once you have defeated the gym leader here and obtained Waterfall, you can head back to Route 119. On the northern side of the route past the waterfall, there is a small berry patch next to the Acro bike track that contains Hondu berries. Make your way through Evergrande City and beat the Pokemon League. Activate the roaming Latias and then subsequently catch the Latias. Now you can head back to the Berry Master's house. Now you can obtain further 3 berries, the Palm Tree berry by using the phrase Challenge Contest, the Whatmill berry by using the phrase Overwhelming Latias, and the Bellu berry by using the phrase Super Hustle. Now the difficulty level escalates for the next berry. Head over to Pacific Lod Town. The man on the southernmost house will tell you that he can see Mirage Island each day. This corresponds to the PID of a Pokemon in your party, and the value needed changes each day. There are several comprehensive guides online that I'll link to on how to access Mirage Island, but I found by far the easiest way was to examine my save data with PK Hex and use the Mirage Island add-on tool to see if I had any Pokemon in my save that would allow access to Mirage Island. Once you bring a Pokemon that matches the value the old man requires, he will prompt you and say Mirage Island is visible. If you surf east from Pacific Lod Town, you will eventually encounter Mirage Island. Here you can harvest the Lychee berry. This brings us to the end of Pokemon Sapphire section of this challenge for now. We currently have 32 out of the 55 berries required. To continue, we'll switch to a different game with other berries available. Time to load up Pokemon Emerald. Start your run of Pokemon Emerald, once again paying attention to the last digit of your trainer ID so you do not duplicate berries. I chose an ID that ended in 6, but you can choose any other number by restarting the game to get the number you require. Once you've played through the game again to reach Route 120, you can find the beauty that gives out berries and receive the corresponding berry you require. In my case, I ended up getting a Wiki berry. After you beat the Elite Four for the first time, choose Latios as your roamer and catch it. Then go back to the Berry Master's wife and enter the phrase Cool Latios to receive a Durin berry. The next 2 berries are some of the most challenging as you need to beat the Battle Frontier. After you obtain the Silver Badge in each section by beating Factory Head Nolan, Area Tycoon Greta, Dome Ace Tucker, Pike Queen Lucy, Palace Maven Spencer, Pyramid King Brandon as Salon Maiden Annabelle, you can speak to Scott in his room and receive the Landsat berry. If you do the same run through the arena again and beat each frontier berry to obtain gold symbols, you can speak to Scott again to receive the staff berry. This brings us to the end of the Pokemon Emerald section for this run. Time to move on to the next game, Pokemon Colosseum. Once you've reached a gate village in the storyline, you can get a random berry daily from the old man and his Halo. The berry he selects is from the first 15 in Hoenn and can be soft reset. I use this method to get the remaining player ID berries I haven't gotten, including the Mago berry and the Aguave berry. Once you've unlocked Mount Battle, you can continuously beat the 100 battle challenge to collect Poke Coupons. You can exchange the Poke Coupons at the counter for rare berries. Using this method, I was able to obtain the Ganlon berry, the Salak berry, the Pitaya berry, and the Apricot berry. Now to move on to the next game, or should I say device. This is the e-reader, a peripheral attachment to the Game Boy Advance that had a limited run commercially due to poor sales. It was so bad in fact that by the time Pokemon Emerald rolled around there was no official events created for its use with this device. Unfortunately for us, Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire had a set of e-cards released to go with the e-reader. Most of these cards unlock battles hidden in the basement of the old man's house in Moss Deep City. However, there are also 5 e-reader exclusive berries that are released as part of these sets. Obtaining the real versions of these cards is difficult. They rarely go on sale, and when they do, they often cost hundreds or thousands of dollars. These berries can't be transferred out of their respective games to other Generation 3 games either, and become Enigma berries when transferred through Power Park in Gen 4. Fortunately, generous people on the internet have scanned these cards and made them widely available on the internet, and if you have access to a good enough photo printer, you can print your own e-cards. This is what I did. If you want specific instructions on how to do this, please let me know. To make these e-reader cards work, you'll need access to 2 Game Boy Advance systems, the e-reader device, a link cable, and a copy of the game. Before you hook up the e-reader, you'll need to have defeated your father Norman, obtained the 5th badge, and unlocked Mystery Event. To unlock Mystery Event, find this guy standing next to the PC in Petalburg City, and enter the phrase, Mystery Event is exciting. This will unlock Mystery Event, which you can access from the boot up menu. Once you swipe an e-reader card, you'll get a notification on your game that your dad has a rare berry. If you head to Petalburg City, you can receive your rare berry from Norman. I chose to try the Nut Pea berry first. Here's the catch. Despite there being 5 other e-reader berry cards, you can only have 1 in your save file. If you attempt to add another berry, the game overwrites any instance of the old berry, including in your bag, as a held item or planted in berry patches. Therefore, in order to have all 6 e-reader berries, you'll need 6 different game files or saves. I use the GB operator to back up my save files 5 different times to do so, but if you have access to 6 cartridges, that would be more legitimate, I guess. After a bit of a setup, I ended up getting the Nut Pea berry, the Chilan berry, the Drash berry, the Pumpkin berry, the Strib berry, and the Egant berry. To make things worse, Japan also released their own version of the e-reader exclusive berries. Unfortunately, there is no cross-compatibility with the English versions of the game or the e-reader, so that means to collect all the berries in Gen 3, you'll also need a Japanese version of the Ruby and Sapphire game, a Japanese e-reader, and Japanese e-reader berry cards as well. After going through the same setup as the English berries, we can now obtain the Janima berry, the Kuo berry, the Niniku berry, the Topo berry, the Tuga berry, and the Yago berry. The last berry is the Enigma berry. There is only effectively one legitimate way of getting this berry in Generation 3, and it can only be obtained in the Japanese versions of the games. To do so, you'll need yet another copy of a game, Pokemon Box Japan version, which actually allows transfer of e-reader berries between games. To obtain the Enigma berry, you'll need to receive one of the e-reader berries in a playthrough of the game and transfer this to Pokemon Box via held item on a Pokemon. You'll then need to start a fresh playthrough of the game without having ever received an e-reader berry card and register at least 100 Pokemon in your Pokedex. Then, transfer the Pokemon with a held e-reader berry to the fresh playthrough. When you eventually unequip the berry from your Pokemon, it will become an Enigma berry and display as one in the game. And that's it. That's all 55 berries available in Generation 3 of Pokemon. This was actually quite difficult to complete with several games and different pieces of equipment needed. While getting the Battle Frontier berries in Pokemon Emerald was by far the most challenging from a strategy perspective, getting all the e-reader berries was the most difficult from a planning and logistical point of view, since the e-reader wasn't widely sold, and actually setting up a printer to print the e-reader cards was a little more challenging than expected. But how much did this cost? Well, we can start tallying up the equipment. We start with a Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Sapphire game, a second Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Emerald, a Japanese version of Pokemon Ruby, the e-reader English version, the e-reader Japanese version, a link cable, a Nintendo Wii or GameCube, a GameCube controller, a GameCube GBA link cable, Pokemon Colosseum, Pokemon Box Japan, the GB operator, e-reader berry cards, and the printer that printed the e-reader cards. In all, my estimate for total cost of equipment is around $1,230 or around $800 US equivalent. In the end, I don't think it was really worth it in the end. It didn't make the game better. But you can see that this challenge was very expensive, so if you wouldn't mind throwing me a pity like on this video, that would help ease the pain a little bit. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to comment below and I'll try to respond to as many comments as I can. Thanks for watching!